Eagles getting near the end of the regular season. They did so yesterday in, I'm going to say it, very impressive fashion. Now, I know a lot of people might disagree because of the offense, and believe me, I was frustrated too, but that was a big win, and the Eagles got it. They got it obviously primarily because of the defense. Great job right there. We'll be all over talking about all of this today. They keep their hopes alive for the 2 seed. If you missed it late last night, Chicago lost. So the 2 seed thing still on the table. That means Nick Sirianni has a decision to make this week of whether to play the starters versus Washington or not. We will cover all of it today with you at 215-592-9494. Richie Rich.
Hello, Joe.
Hello there, Johnny.
The hottest temperature ever recorded in Buffalo, New York is 99 degrees. It's one of the few places
That's amazing.
In the United States, one of the few major U.S. cities that hasn't ever hit 100 degrees.
Wow. Well, that shows you the impact of where you're located because, we're not that far from them. And, we can get up to 100, multiple times a summer, and they don't ever. That's amazing. It's an amazing fact. So let's get to it. Look, obviously everything is on the table here. How the Eagles looked on the good side, how they looked on the bad side, the implications, what it all means, all of it with you, 215-592-9494. I'll start with this. Great job by the Eagles. Great job by the defense, but by extension, great job by the Eagles. This is a big win. And it represents really to me 2 things as far as a big win. One is the reality that the 2 seed was still in play at 7:30 yesterday and then still becomes in play at 11:30 yesterday when that other game ends. So it's still in play, and that matters for the second round, and it could matter for the third round because, one surprise, I don't think anybody, if whoever the 1 seed ends up being, ends up losing in the divisional round. So 2 seeds still on the table, that's important. The other aspect that's important is what it represents as far as our team versus a quality opponent when for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, to win it, they're going to have to beat 4 quality opponents. And what it shows me yet again is that the Eagles can win the Super Bowl. Now, look, formula-wise, it was right on brand. And is that aggravating to not see more from the offense? You're damn right it is. But it is how the Eagles typically win. They win because their offense leads them there. They do win in part because Jalen does not turn the ball over. And they just kind of slug it out and find a way, and that's what they did yesterday. So I'm pretty pumped up. I think most of the conversation I've heard after the game, radio and TV, most of it has been negative in nature. I don't agree with that. I'm not saying there's not negatives to discuss. We will discuss them all. But I'm telling you, I lean much more positive than negative after what I thought was a big and impressive victory against the Buffalo Bills on the road in a hostile environment and a brutal weather game. Now, that's where I stand. I ask you, 215-592-9494, where are you at, John? Talk to me.
I agree with you on the brutal weather game front. I think that's something that can't be underestimated. That does keep the score down. I mean, it is
alarming how bad the offense
let's
is. Let's
be honest.
Yes,
yeah, I mean,
course.
you look at our score, it's 13-12. You look at, man, that game last night was so amazing. That was an amazing game last night. It was 42-38. It was, oh man, it was a joy to watch that thing, especially after our game,
of course,
where it was just a slobber knocker. Just, oh man. But I don't know what the deal is. Our offense needs to, increase the production. I feel like I want to blame it on, hey, the offensive line is letting us down, but it's like the inconsistency is what lets us down. It's never one thing, just like they have continuously told us this whole season. So they just need to be better. They need to be crisper. They have to be more disciplined, and that
John, I will say it's
way.
very clear at this stage of the season their offense isn't that good. I mean, it's very clear.
No, their offense
it's just not.
Their offense can't compare to the 49ers offense, and that's for sure. That game that we saw after us. Remember, the Rams offense was amazing. That 49ers offense last night, I think that was the first time it punted all of December.
Sure.
last night.
Yeah, but no, I hear you. But here's what I'll come back to a lot today. And again, everyone can weigh in on all this.
But look,
what I come back to is that
we won.
Yeah,
we won a game against a really good team.
You know why?
Because our defense
Correct.
can stifle anything.
Yes,
that's what I'm curious about. How does that defense counterbalance these great offenses? Across the way, across the country. San Francisco really looks like they're coming together. They're a machine.
Well, they're better
now.
than we thought.
Yes.
I mean, let's be real. They're better than we thought.
Yeah, we forgot about them out there.
I agree.
Because everyone was sort of oohing and eyeing over the Seattle Seahawks. Hey, look, this team's pretty good. So there's a lot going on out west. I think what we need to focus on, Joe, right now, let's win this game against the Commanders because the Bears have a very good chance to lose against the Lions. If that Lions team has underachieved this year, and they can over-motivate with Dan Campbell as their head coach. Don't tell me the Lions can't ruin the Bears' season with the best of them. There's a great chance. I mean, I'm telling you, crazy stuff always happens this time of the year. I'm telling you right now, the Lions will beat the Bears. I'm telling you right now. But for our sake, that means, just like you were asking it to start the show, do we play our starters in week 18? Yes, we play our starters.
Disagree.
We beat the Commanders.
So
that's important because the 2 seed means we play the Packers. I'd rather play the Packers when it's all said and done than the other things that we'd have to face in the NFC.
So it is a fascinating conversation, and frankly, very similar to last year when the Eagles did not play their starters, when the 2 or 3 seed hung in the balance. And I'll tell you, here's my early inclination of what to do. It's to not play the starters. And there's two specific reasons why I say to do that. Because I do value the 2 seed. I don't want people to think I think it's a throwaway. I don't. But I'm going to start with this. I think the Eagles' backups beat Washington. So I'm going to start with that premise. Now, I can't prove it and I don't know it, but I'm just telling you my inclination is that I think the Eagles' backups will beat Washington. So I think the Eagles will win anyway. Now, I can't prove that Chicago will definitely lose, so you have that. And you have 3 different things in play. Can the backups beat Washington? Is Chicago actually going to lose? And what is the impact of giving the starters rest for 14 days before they play a playoff game in 2 weeks? And the combination of those 3 leans, for me, I lean in the direction of don't play the starters. Because I do want to see Landon Dickerson and Juergens and Saquon and everybody have 14 days until they have to play whomever they're going to have to play. It could be San Fran. It could be the Rams. I think it could be the Packers if the Eagles get the 2 seed. It could be the 49ers. I would not play them. But I am curious where you stand at 215-592-9494. So we have a lot to unpack about yesterday, and then obviously to move forward for 6 days from now, Eagles-Washington, what to do there. Let's circle back to yesterday. Devin was there. Unbelievable job getting in here 6 a.m. after a Buffalo 425 game. No, I'm serious, Devin. That's impressive. So
Thank you.
Tell us first and foremost, how crazy were the conditions with the weather?
I mean, I feel like words honestly can't fully capture what that was like.
It was that bad?
It was the worst. So I've covered games now in, 105-degree real feel in Tampa earlier this season. We had the snow game last year. We've had a few freezing cold games. I think yesterday's game takes the cake for the worst conditions I've ever covered a game in. It was Erin Andrews was the sideline reporter for the national TV broadcast, and even she, who's been doing this forever, as we know, looks at me and goes, "Oh my God.
Wow.
Like, this is insane." And it was relentless. There was maybe a moment in the second quarter where it let up, and I think it was ironically the moment where the Eagles went down and scored again. And thank goodness for that, because then they didn't the rest of the game, as we know. But it was pouring rain. The only silver lining is it wasn't freezing. It wasn't freezing cold, but they were like drying off footballs. They were using the heaters to dry their helmets. Like there was no escaping it. It was a lot.
Wow. Yeah, I mean
that's a big deal, Devin. My experience, the worst game I ever played in was a game where it was like 33 degrees, so it was just cold enough to not be snowing or sleeting, and it was just pouring rain and really windy because you couldn't escape the cold. You would get tackled and you're in just puddles that are this deep. This was on a field. This was on the old Bishop McDevitt field. Way
for a high school
back.
game, for everyone listening, a high school game.
Yeah, back in central Pennsylvania. This was before like pro turf and everything.
Yeah.
So by the end of the season, there were divots everywhere. It was just mud and just puddles. But the wind and the cold, it's so much worse than snow.
So much worse than snow.
Because you get soaked and then you're gone. You're a goner.
Yeah.
Like you can't escape it. And you can't stay dry in the first place. It's
and then
just
even
a
if it
nightmare.
somehow stops at one point, it's cold, so then you're soaking wet, and you can't, like you just said, you can't escape it.
Yeah.
I will say, so Buffalo doesn't have natural grass, so it's not like mud was a factor, but they do have artificial turf, and when it rains enough, like that turf gets slippery as well, so it can be hard to grab footing. Like it certainly can impact the performance. That being said, I mean, the Buffalo Bills still found a way to be productive on offense in the second half, no matter what the conditions are.
All right, look, a lot to break down, including the first half, second half disparity with the Eagles offense. I mean, they hummed in the first half. I mean, it wasn't like, classic 1994 49ers humming, but they played well. The Eagles offense played well in the first half and then absolutely stunk it up in the second half. So what do you make of that? Because it feels like it's the 5,000th time we've seen it now. I mean, it really is unbelievable. All right, 215-592-9494. I'm telling you, it's a big win. Whether you're in a bad mood about how they arrived at it or not, it's a big win. And I am very encouraged because the defense is freaking great. I mean, thank God the Eagles offense don't have to play the Eagles defense because the Eagles offense would score negative points. But it's what it is. And this defense can lead them all the way. But don't kid yourself. The offense is a major concern and might be the reason why they lose. Let's put it this way. If the Eagles lose in the playoffs, they'll probably lose because of their offense. So, yes, we want to see them get it together, but we know you got a great defense in your back pocket. 215-592-9494. Talk to us on all these issues, including whether to play the starters or not on 94 WIP.